Greetings, denizens of the tri-state area. Jacob Weil here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
And Dragon, I know what we're going to do today. We're going to activate the Recap-inator and discuss my favorite cartoon, Phineas and Ferb. That's right, in honor of the 15th anniversary and in preparation for the 5th season that's now upon us, I'm guiding Blue Dragon 5 here through the series, experiencing his reaction watching it for the first time, and reliving my summer memories through the years. And this is the big one, folks. It's the day we long knew was coming, the last day of summer. The original series finale. So, Dragon, why don't you give your thoughts on, well, Phineas and Ferb's last day?
So yeah, we end on a big event, which I mean it makes all the sense in the world that it would be the end of summer, given it's about the endless summer. I mean, if they have the opportunity to know there's going to be an ending, it's nice that they were able to kind of end it logically in a way that would it's closing the book, it's closing the chapter, it's a big kind of celebration, and the stakes are pretty big. Space time continuum, a lot of that going around today.
Yep.
And it's one last crazy ride.
It is kind of interesting how today and tomorrow, happy 4th of July, early 4th of July every day. Anyway, folks, it's kind of interesting that but tomorrow we're also doing something time travel related.
Oh yeah.
So is it serendipity or what? Who knows? But so yeah, and little kind of interesting, like how this season, how the finale doesn't actually focus on the boys, does it?
Well, then again, most of the show didn't.
Well, yeah, but I mean, there are quite a few episodes where Phineas and Ferb were the main focus, but this episode kind of really highlights it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That this episode in particular was really about Candace and Doofenshmirtz.
Oh yeah.
and and my personal history with this dragon is, like, as you know, like, I didn't catch the show initially when it first premiered, but I did watch it as it was fully airing, and obviously when I first heard about its ending, I was obviously sad, but I knew it had to end eventually. Obviously that also got overturned recently, as we all know. But so yeah, like, for the longest time, they like this is an episode I was always anticipating would happen, but at the same time, kind of hoping wouldn't happen, if you know what I mean. You get what I'm saying?
I think so.
It's like, and I just gotta say, like, this how this show means so much to me, and this I wouldn't say this is my personal favorite episode of the series, but I gotta say, it is definitely a strong finale. Well, finale for the time, as it was. So, and definitely, I like to think that they actually took it in a very interesting direction. There are all kinds of ways they could have gone with this kind of show's finale, and the way they did it, I think they leaned into the show's strengths fairly well. We already have some comments from Aquatat here saying, like, well, here we are. Yep. And regarding the time thing, coincidence? I think not. Yep. It was planned all along, wasn't it, Dragon?
Bernie.
It was planned the entire time.
Yeah.
The fact that this was released before the Alka files threw me off. Like, yeah, that's probably why they did it that way on Disney Plus. Yeah, so it makes more sense. And like I said, even if we did follow the order as it was, we would have still done this last anyway. So, because I wanted to end on the last day of summer.
Yep.
So, all right. Let's get into it. Let's break it down. Kind of like how time breaks down. There's not a lot of actual production and background information about this, but fun fact, like if you notice, this is actually the first episode of the series. Fun enough, it was on the final episode to use the new Disney television animation logo. Like Phineas and Ferb for the longest time had the vestige of the old, blue and white Disney Castle logo. But as of this episode, they used the Paul Rudish Mickey Mouse logo for this. Pretty interesting. So it held out for quite a while. And one more other thing is that fun fact I didn't actually know until like earlier today when I was doing more research that Dan Feldmeyer revealed that Disney gave him an unusually specific demand for this finale. You want to know what it is, Dragon?
They wanted to end on pie?
No. It's like revealed that gave him the unusually specific demand that none of the characters could be shown being killed in the special.
Oh wow.
As doing so would interfere with any potential revival or future project involving the series or its characters.
I see.
It's like, so yeah.
I mean, well, we don't see Irving in this episode.
Yeah, well, that's like, so that's the strange thing, isn't it? Like, we're outside of Star Wars, which, as the show itself going out of the way to say, is not canon, and Doof's odd line in this episode that said, "Vanessa, help me with this cadaver." It's like, when does this show ever show death?
Well, again, we've killed a lot of Doofenshmirtzes, but they were they're clones, so they're fine.
Yeah, but not like outside of that, and the original Doof is still fine. So, it's like so it is kind of just an odd suggestion. I mean that's something that would be more appropriate for something like Gravity Falls or some of the more other darker shows, but not something like this. Alrighty then, so. Alright. So naturally the episode begins on a song. Where the boys are gathering their friends to have the best final day of summer that they can.
Doing it on hoverboards.
What do you know?
Hoverboards that connect, kind of in almost an odds to the Fantasticar, might I add.
It is kind of funny that the thing we're talking about tomorrow also has a thing with hoverboards.
Well, kinda.
Well, its sequel does.
Yeah, I think a sequel. Yeah, I'm saying yeah.
I said related. I meant not.
I know. I'm not disagreeing.
Yep. So Phineas and Ferb gather the gang, including Buford wanting to bring his suckling pig along.
Needs a smaller lunch.
Yep, that is probably one of Buford's smaller lunches. Yeah. Knowing Buford's appetite, I'm assuming that's probably that's a light lunch to Buford.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of serendipity here. That there is. Or should I say, yes, there is. I wonder if Aquated or anyone watching has guessed what we're talking about tomorrow.
Yeah, Aquated's pretty perceptive. I think he'd be able to put his mind to it and realize what we're talking about.
As long as we get back in time. Gotta get back in time. I mean, if that's a straight up hint right there.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's like so Candace is doing the same old, waking up with an alarm saying, "Bust in time. I know what we're gonna do today." That's her alarm, is Phineas saying, "I know what we're gonna do today."
So basically, the episodes are very, very steeped in Groundhog Day. So we're kind of setting up the pattern here, where we see what the day-to-day on Candace and Doofenshmirtz are. So Candace is like, she gets up to the alarm. She trips on these wheeled items in the house. Like for some reason, 3 skates in her room.
Yep.
Then to a wagon wheel, into like a wagon. Then she's going ultimately to the kitchen, and yeah.
Like, why do we have so many wheeled objects flying around the house? Linda reading about the new tiger habitat, and of course heading for errands because errands never do themselves. They never do.
Nope.
All right, so what the boys are doing, like Baljeet's for one is excited for school, like woo. And they're just playing. They're just trying to do the thing they do is everything.
Yep, that's what the plan is for today. Everything. Who said? Who said you can't have it all?
And apparently the boys don't follow that rule.
I love Buford's having this bit of like, I made it weird, didn't I?
It's like, and then Ferb's like, oh no, it's like hugging is a healthy expression of human connection.
Now you
Now
just made it
you.
weird.
Yeah, Ferb with all of his wisdom, right?
Yep. So we see basically this giant theme park ride that is like a recap of pretty much all the backyard shenanigans throughout the show, and I love that kind of almost all the magic school bus. They get baked into a pie.
Doot, doot, doot.
Speaking of which, doesn't it look like Arnold grew up to be Carl just a little bit?
Yep, kind of.
Anyway,
he changed his name so Miss Frizzle wouldn't find him.
well, yeah. That's the only way he dyed his hair so a darker shade of red and changed his name, and he moved to the tri-state area.
Yep.
But anyway, I love all the ride vehicles that they go in throughout this.
Yep. And I like when they go through like that machine that makes them look more realistic, kind of, except Buford. And then sadly, Little Richard's not here to sing a funky song about the right. Yep, unfortunately.
Nope.
And if you notice, did you notice how like when when they went through like the second thing that their heads were replaced by like their voice actors' heads?
Yeah.
And did you notice what happened to Buford?
No, I didn't notice what happened to Buford.
Buford was an octopus.
That's weird.
Well, the thing is, that's exactly why they went with it, because like the thing is at the time, obviously, like the Phineas, Ferb, and Baljeet and Isabella were voiced by like young adults and things like that, whereas like Bobby Gaylor is a middle-aged man who voices Buford. It's like, so they thought that putting his head next to it would be kind of weird, and also because an octopus would be funnier anyway. And it is funnier. Like, so yeah, so it's everything. Breaking news: Bobby Gaylor is an octopus.
Oh, what else is new?
Yes. Because remember, Bobby Gaylor also used to be a writer for the show. Remember,
he wrote very efficiently with 8 arms.
Yep, and like that explains why he and Martin Olson wrote so many episodes in season 1.
Yep.
He had 8 arms to write with.
Was stretched thin.
Yeah, maybe that's why he just resorted to being the voice of Buford.
Yep.
Like, he was stretched too thin, or who knows? Maybe his 8 limbs got bit off by a shark.
What? My arms are tired. I gotta talk.
Yeah. And so speaking of Carl, he's gone.
Yeah, but not forgotten.
Well, he's just gone to college, and apparently this once again shows that Monogram has basically no idea of how to run a multimedia presentation.
Yeah, that was actually, secretly in this episode, that was them breaking the network's note. Okay, Carl was Carl went to college.
Yep.
He's not there. He's not around. So like the code word is like they go off to college, which means he's dead. He's gone. He didn't make it. He got lumpus. It didn't end well. He's gone.
Oh God. You want to? At least as long as he's having a good time at college. After all, Alka is for. Dang it, Carl! You're not even here. Yep. So, yeah. Well, I can't say dang it for trying to get a good college education, right, Dragon?
No, well, again, if you believe the cover story that he went to college.
Well, like as a dragon.
I think he's dead and he came back in the future. That's what I think happened. I think there's a revival story, like a death and return of Superman kind of deal. Died, came back, and then was just the rest is history.
The death and return of Carl.
Yes.
All
It's
right.
like going to Belize in the Albuquerque verse. It's like going to colleges. Well, it's either that or he's in prison.
Yeah.
Because in Goodfellas, going to college is going to prison.
Well, who's to say?
Yep.
He comes back as Dr. Coconut. Look out. Here he comes. Dr. Coconut. You remember that one, Dragon?
Yeah.
Still no explanation for that one, is there?
No, not really.
And then again, do you really want an explanation for Dr. Coconut?
I don't think so. There's a Monogram struggles with the slideshow without Carl, and although he's very disheartened, like you keep it together, Francis. He wants to cry that there's no Carl.
So he really did care about Carl.
Yep.
Aww.
And Carl cared for Monogram like a non-biological father.
Yes.
The Doofenshmirtz, we see what his morning's like. His morning is he bumps his head on the lamp,
and he disintegrates it.
Yep, disintegrates it, and then Norm comes bearing Norm. He comes bearing breakfast in the form of chocolate cake.
Wakey, wakey, cakes and bakey. And Norm's like, and Doof's like, cake's not breakfast, Norm.
I stand corrected. I mean, cake is the relative of the donut, and donut is the breakfast of champions, so why not?
It reminds me of, like, this is like Jim Gaffigan joke. You know what I'm talking about, the comedian?
Yeah.
It's like you can't, it's like talking about, like so he heard, like, you can't have cake for breakfast, you can have fried cake and syrup for breakfast. You know, like pancakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, cake? No. Fried cake and syrup? Yes. which makes sense. Donuts? Yes, I had actually had some donuts today for breakfast.
I had pancakes a while ago.
Oh, nice. I haven't had pancakes in a while. I had waffles recently, though.
I had silver dollar pancakes and bacon.
Sounds good. Sounds like a good breakfast.
Oh yeah.
Like, so Vanessa seriously wants to talk to Doof about something. But what could it possibly be? I mean, he gets a little too distracted, though.
Yep, which is mainly the problem, and she gets understandably frustrated.
Yep.
And meanwhile, Candace is returning Vanessa's DVDs after she brings Mom back in the backyard, and everything's gone because they've gone back to the drawing board.
Literally, the everything turned into a drawing board.
Because Buford has notes.
Almost unanimous approval.
I love the drawing board idea. I love that it transforms right into the drawing board. I think that's fantastic.
Yep. Talk about compressed space.
It's glorious.
Yeah, I mean, don't you wish you could pack things up like that?
God, yes.
Just, like, it's everything, and then you can just turn it into like a little suitcase or whatever.
Oh yeah.
It would make moving so much easier.
Without question.
All right. So, to returning Vanessa's DVDs, and Dragon, how about we do like a little jingle for old time's sake? All right.
All right. Doofenshmirtz Evil Incorporated.
Haven't done it in a while.
Oh.
So, feels good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Did you notice like the little callback to the intro that they did? Speaking of like Perry,
What?
His lair entrance was the reused animation from the pilot episode.
Oh.
It's like a callback to the pilot.
Nice.
Yep. It's like so Doofenshmirtz came up with a new idea. It's like, in order to become the leader of the tri-state area, he realizes there's no actual position for it, so he decides to create one.
Yep.
And quite frankly, it's actually a pretty clever idea.
Oh yeah.
The Tri-Governor-inator. Basically, it would create the position of Tri-Governor, basically making him the leader of the entire tri-state area. Meanwhile, of course, Vanessa's so over Perry and Doof's fighting.
Yep. You had Perry in the snare drum trap.
Yeah, which even Norm does a rim shot for.
Which would sound like?
Which would sound like this. Yep. Oh. Yep, like that.
Yeah.
It's like, so Candace returns Vanessa's DVDs, and while Vanessa goes off, a new meeting happens.
Candace meets Heinz Doofenshmirtz.
Oh yes, a meeting that not many people saw coming. I mean, like they kind of interacted during like Night of the Living Pharmacist, but most of the time was with Vanessa. This is the first time they've ever been one-on-one. And they fail to see like the actual interpersonal connection that they have, like the shared struggles that they face. Like, going after goals and all that, like day after day is like, it must be a teenage thing. Completely oblivious to his own, to his own repetitious nature. And so, Dragon, where exactly does this meeting of the minds lead to?
Well, let's see. So basically, Doofenshmirtz is listening to Candace, but he's not really picking up on the subtleties of like, oh, I share a kinship with this girl.
Yep.
It's just like, I can't see that at all, like being held, like being hung up on this one unattainable goal. It's like it's a teenage thing.
Yeah, not thinking like, oh, like who's been trying to take over the tri-state area for who knows how long. So she introduces, so she in her reverie sits on the do-over-inator. So, Dragon, what does the do-over-inator do?
Well, Jacob, I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, it's a do-over. It allows you to do things over. To do the day over.
Essentially, it's a Groundhog Day-inator.
Pretty much.
As in the Bill Murray movie Groundhog Day, which it's just that it's a reset until you learn the lesson.
And learn a lesson. They don't immediately.
No. So very self-explanatory. Well, here's the thing. So it's it's a very interesting premise. The idea. So this she very intentionally activates the do-over-inator. After Doofenshmirtz says, he's still got some kinks to work out of it. So very reckless on Candace's part. Hits the do-over-inator. And they're basically starting the day over again. So per any Groundhog Day premise, they're going to keep doing this and doing this and doing this until there's going to be some fun variety there. But ultimately, things won't change until the very end. So with that, the idea that Candace can't. Sorry, I want to make sure I get my. I feel like I've been hit by the double negative-inator here. Just give me a second.
The Candace.
Yeah, Candace can't bust the boys.
Yes.
Okay, so she cannot bust the boys, but she. It's just ultimately no matter what she does, it's like it's like if she stops the boys, the show will end. It's being the last episode, it's like the show dies if she busts the boys, and with that in mind, Doofenshmirtz again, it's likewise Doofenshmirtz, he won't stop until he takes over the tri-state area. So with that in mind, it's like these two characters, they have these goals, where again, it will just if this thing's going to keep doing over until they achieve their goals, and just parenthetically, they is by definition of the rules of this universe is outlined by the two bearded men,
who by the way look like this.
Yep. So it's by definition, like the rules outlined by those schmoes.
Schmoes.
Delicious hot schmoes.
They're called s'mores, Dragon.
Right. Has anyone seen Jacob's hat? Yeah. No one found Jacob's hat yet.
All right, but your point.
Like you see, my point is it's the thing where these characters they by definition they can't achieve these goals. It means if things can keep doing over, it will just keep going ad infinitum until the fabric of space time is in tatters. And I love that concept.
And if you think about it, especially with the song, which leads to of course to the song when tomorrow is this morning again. Mm-hmm. The Doofenshmirtz and Candace duet.
Nice.
Probably one of the best songs in the entire show.
Mm-hmm.
It's this episode and this song especially like very carefully deconstructs the whole premise of the show. Like the days do seem cyclical and repeating, so in this case it's happening literally.
Calling out the status quo in song.
Yep. It's a very interesting kind of would you use the term deconstruction for this episode?
I mean, there's I guess deconstructionist elements. Yeah, I guess that's kind of.
I mean, it's not like it's like taking them to like it's uber realistic elements, but
no, I guess it's accurate. I think it works.
I mean, it's like talking about like it's about the days repeating over and over again, kind of like when tomorrow is this morning again. You can apply that to the show itself.
It's literalizing it, but yeah,
Yep, and of course, like again, it's a great song too. It's like. I saw a comment recently on X that actually kind of like raised an interesting point. Like, remember in the very first season, they were kind of poising Vanessa to be Candace's counterpart. But when they dropped that thread, it became clear that Candace's real counterpart was Doofenshmirtz.
And as Aquatad points out, they had a visual nod to this with Busted.
Yep. Exactly my point.
Yeah.
It's like again, Dragon. So I can't talk enough about how great When Tomorrow This Morning Again is.
I mean, honestly, all the songs were really on point for like their last outing here.
It's like they really brought it all the stops. Like you can tell in some cases in some of the previous episodes this season, and even probably throughout the third, they kind of phoned it in some places, or like just like okay, it's the mandated episode, or it's the mandated one per episode song. But here, again, especially with all the specials, they kind of like really went all out with them. Like I said, especially with all the hour-long specials, I'd say. So, I kind of wanted to tease this up last week, but I kind of wanted the duet to be a surprise. I mean, Dragon, did you ever anticipate a Doofenshmirtz and Candace duet?
Not really, no.
And of course, they would naturally save it for the finale. And it's kind of also kind of sad if you think about it. It's like the days are repeating their joys about it, but it is just them trying and failing over and over again until they get it right. It's a song about like determination, but the wrong kind of determination. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right. So, Dragon, what do you want to discuss next?
Well, okay, let's talk. So we have these rips that are forming that basically it sucks something in, and it disappears from the lexicon, except for Candace and Doofenshmirtz. They're the only two people that know something's off, and things are like disappearing from the public consciousness. And this rip that happens roughly like 23 plus times.
Yep. And because Candace and Doof were in the time bubble, in the bubble when the inator was activated.
Yeah.
They're the ones, they're immune from its effects.
So, I mean, I love the...
You just said it's doing the same thing repeatedly and expecting different results.
Yep, that's true.
But as you were saying, Dragon.
I'm saying it's very Zemeckis-esque, just like the Gale Zemeckis in terms of like the rules that we're outlining here for how it works and how like the space-time logic actually tracks, and we also have a great visual representation of it later. It's not a chalkboard, but it's the next best thing.
Yep. It's a paper towel.
Yeah, and I love that Doofenshmirtz says, "Well, look, if I had a paper towel, I could demonstrate this for you. We're just gonna have to."
Yep. Even at its tense moments, he's still trying to find some humor. There's still some humor there.
And so ultimately, Doofenshmirtz learns that Vanessa wants to move out, really because he doesn't listen, and he's just in this cycle. It's just she's getting a little tired of, and she wants to do the Alka internship. But really, Doofenshmirtz thinks it's because he's a loser and he wants to impress Vanessa with a win, with a successful inator.
Which is reasonable motivation, even though he doesn't fully understand what's going on.
Yeah. So after
and I love Norm's like, why would you want to do this? It's like Vanessa, help me with this cadaver. Yeah, that's an episode we didn't see.
No, it isn't. No.
So yeah, apparently there's a missing episode out there where Doof had
Doof killed man,
or at least had access to a cadaver.
Yeah.
Maybe, who knows? Maybe he's in the mortician's office.
That's possible.
So who knows? Why does Doof have a cadaver? We never know. So, and the funny thing is, like, Candace in her attempts to bust the boys actually inspires their different ideas too. Basically, she's ultimately also leading to her own self-destruction in a way. But as you're saying, like, Doof wants a win for once. He thinks that Vanessa will want to be with him, and not want to live with Charlene full time.
Yeah. So after many tries, he shockingly he succeeds. He wins the tri-governorship.
Yeah, because he ran unopposed.
If he ran unopposed for this just made up position,
and naturally he wins.
I love John O'Hurley's read on Roger's shocked reaction.
He's like, wait, the winner of the tri-governor mansion, the tri-governor race is my brother Heinz Doofenshmirtz?
Yeah.
It's like, you see, Vanessa, I'm not a loser anymore.
Yep.
And that's his motivation. Like, his motivation is Vanessa. More so in this episode. Both to get one over on Roger and to keep Vanessa by his side.
We learned that Norm likes pancakes.
Yep.
It's a theme tonight with pancakes.
I like pancakes.
As do I, Norm.
All right. It's like
so
the unthinkable happens next.
That's right. So after the by the way, during this we had a montage of basically we had the quirky worky montage of traps and just Candace like near bust. We have I love all the deliveries of Linda. We bring her in. She's like in a
shopping cart.
She's in a shopping car, a sumo suit. We have Candace dressed like a clown. Yep. Anyway, so Doofenshmirtz now with his new position, we have the muffin gag too. The whole he sings a muffin gets sucked into the rip. No one knows Norm doesn't know what a muffin is now. He says, "Do you know the muffin, man? The muffin that lives on Drury." I love it. He goes into the rant about Drury Lane, where it's just like a depressing place to live.
It's like, it sounds so dreary. It's not dreary. It's Drury.
Yeah. It's deaf ears for Norm. He still does it. Muffin does not compute.
Nope.
Yeah. Okay, so we end really impressively with part one here, where Candace she goes with the boys
after realizing that something's wrong and people are forgetting things.
First off, Doofenshmirtz, he's about to turn off the do-over in air because now everything seems to have worked out. He's seemingly impressed Vanessa and that she'll be living with him in the floating mansion.
Yep, above the above the Capitol building, and but then it gets the Do-Over-inator itself gets sucked into a time rift.
Well, by the way, I love with all the traps that it would make sense he'd be able to, kind of outmaneuver Pericles after like a bazillion tries.
Yep.
Yeah.
It took
Yes.
him a while, but he managed to do it.
Well, I would stand the reason.
Yep, and he finally wins, and eventually even makes thwarting him illegal, which apparently is legally binding.
Oh yeah.
But as you mentioned, the first part ends with an unthinkable. Candace is trying to explain what's going on with the boys to Phineas and Ferb, who don't know what spoons and tigers are because they've been sucked into the rift.
Yep. So then they themselves get sucked into the rift, and Candace like, "Mom!" and he says Phineas and Ferb, and Linda's like, "Who Phineas and Ferb?" And that's like, "Oh wow, bum bum bum. Yeah, we're in trouble here, kids. We lost the identity of the show in the last episode. Literally, they're gone. Kaputski, bye bye. Who's that walking around in the Disney parks? Shapes, undefined shapes.
Like, you get nothing.
Good day, sir. Jacob stole fizzy lifting drinks.
It was in my defense. It was good. It was delicious.
Now that room must be washed and sterilized.
Like, you get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
You're an inhuman. I said
I
good
said
day.
good
Sir.
day. I said good day.
Yep. But Jake doesn't give it the Slugworth. He brings the everlasting gobstopper back.
So shines a good deed in a
In
weary,
a weary
world.
world.
Yes.
Jacob, you've won.
Yep. Thanks. Thank you.
Well, you know what they say, Jacob. Remember what happened to the man who suddenly got everything he ever wanted.
You lived happily ever after.
Yes, he did. That was our interpretive recap of the end of when we walked in the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, which came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's not even really relevant to this, is it?
Oh no, not in the slightest. No.
It's like I don't even know. We've just been off on this random tangent, but that's the nature of this show, isn't it?
Pretty much.
After about 130 streams of this show, it's bound to happen.
Yeah, well, we Phineas and Ferb aren't in the show anymore. Like, what show are we even talking about right now?
I don't know, Candace and Doofenshmirtz.
Yeah, Candy Doof. Hey, Candy, there you go.
Yep, Dragon. Right. This is our 129th stream.
Yeah.
So, I've actually, as I said, I've made a playlist of all of our streams.
What is an updated playlist?
Yep, I've included every single one of them,
yeah.
including this. If it's not a tangent, it's not this podcast.
All right, so we're on part 2. So Candace is trying to save her brothers and put a stop to all the do-overs, but to do that, she needs the help of Baljeet, Buford, and Isabella,
who have no idea who Candace is.
They barely have. She's like the tall girl in the neighborhood. That's pretty much it.
Isabella's like, she lives right across the street from me, but I thought you were an only child.
Yeah, but apparently not. So, we see that Phineas and Ferb, they're okay. They're in kind of this parallel timeline or kind of pocket dimension of sorts. Where basically, all the rip in time is just kind of sent all the stuff.
I was like, wow, this stuff is really random. I hope no one at home is planning to baste a turkey while wearing suspenders and capri pants. It's like, yeah, you're right. Mr. Keen is having a very bad day. It's like, so apparently somebody is planning on doing all that stuff.
Yep. I mean, they got oranges, they got spoons, they got tigers, they got capri pants, they got snow globes, they got all sorts of stuff that's getting ripped and beamed to them.
Yeah, but they really had to avoid the tigers.
Yeah, because apparently tigers don't like oranges or orange-related puns.
Yep.
Yep. See, if they had cereal, they'd be fine.
Don't you mean they'd be great?
Yeah, better than fine.
They're great. Or if you're going the opposite, they're food. Well, that's Terry the Tiger, though.
Yeah.
Oh God, another reference.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Buford, Belgian, and Isabella seem to barely tolerate each other without Phineas and Ferb's presence. I mean, they seem fine together. They seem fine, but they're kind of
Very catty.
yeah. So, like so. So Dragon? How does Doofenshmirtz's role as the Tri-Governor go?
Well, he hates homework.
At the Doofenshmirtz Governor's mansion. So, so Perry is actually rather sad that he can't. That basically, his thing's coming to an end. Like, I miss our thwarting days already, and in fact, the present years make me far too sad nostalgic. So maybe you better go.
I mean, he checks on his brother, and he has like this hole in his floor, so he can just chastise him, which is really funny.
It's like, hi, did you steal my secretary? Yes.
Yes, I did.
What makes you think you can do a thing like that? Well, it's easy. Because I'm the boss of you.
Yeah. he's got everything you could ever want right now.
Well, you know how the saying goes, like, be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it.
Yep.
That's another major theme to this episode, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
At least when it comes to Doof, like, he gets exactly what he wanted, but he lost what he had.
Yep. All right, let's
So.
see. So, okay, let's see. So, all right, okay. Anyway, so our plot. So back to the plot. So basically, it's kind of a race to play catch up with the do overs. You know, it's a race to it's very much like the. Now, mind you, everything's always stemming from Groundhog Day, but Groundhog Day didn't have an accelerated kind of window there where you're trying to fit things into. Because sometimes it's okay. So in the history of the Groundhog Day, kind of parodies, lampoonings, and just kind of references. Often when a lot of TV shows, and I don't mean just like a lot, I mean like a lot of TV shows. Look at honestly, almost all the CW superhero shows did a Groundhog Day parody. Where there's one episode in which it's like we're in a time loop and we're enacting things, we're trying to learn a lesson, and sometimes there is like a thing where the window is shrinking like it does in this episode, so you have to get things going faster to get a lot more opportunities. The Flash did, as unsurprisingly.
Yeah.
Legends of Tomorrow did it possibly the best, and then Arrow did it in their last season, which was was good, as pathos driven, it wasn't bad. I mean, those are the three go-tos, but you get the idea. Supernatural had a really great episode very early on, back in like the good old, like the original 5 years. This is like season 2 or 3, I think. I think it was season.
The Eric Kripke seasons.
Yeah, the core Kripke seasons in the beginning. This was season 2 or 3. Essentially, Dean, to save Sam, Dean kind of made a deal with the devil of sorts, in which he basically he traded off a lot of. He kind of traded his soul to devils, and when he dies, he's going downstairs. And it was like kind of a prophesized thing where Sam is very much dreading this, and he's feeling he feels bad about it because Dean did this for him. Now, this great episode features the trickster. Not the Mark Hamill trickster, different trickster, but you get the idea. It's a superpowered, very Mixie Spitalik-esque character who likes to wreak havoc on the Winchester. Anyway, this trickster character, he very nice actor, by the way, very nice guy. Actually saved one of the other actors. Saved the guy who played Chuck.
Huh.
Anyway, of course, Chuck was a very important character in Supernatural, but I don't want to spoil it in case anyone has not seen it. But
all right.
Anywho, the point being, the trickster basically put Sam and Dean into a Groundhog Day loop. Mainly Sam. Sam's aware of what's going on. So Sam's in this Groundhog Day loop essentially because again, the whole thing is the moral of the story is that he has to learn that he can't control that Dean's going to die, at least per what this season was kind of hinging on. And he had to accept it, and it kind of started off where basically Sam became very aware of he's gone through this a lot. He's been kind of re-traumatized by his poor Sam. He keeps getting re-traumatized by his brother dying every time. It's like a dark version of Groundhog Day. And it's just the thing of he's trying to he's doing everything he can to prevent this, and it's just not going.
Yep.
So it's very much kind of a thing here where basically you're trying to prevent something. So it's Candace is getting an early start. She's getting everyone in their pajamas there. So because Candace needs to cut through the boring Baljeet math to the solution part of it.
Yep.
Vanessa drops a big old truth bomb on Doofenshmirtz. This is big, and essentially we see the ramifications here in our spin-off attempts.
Yep. So it's she basically tells him that he's just doing it out of point for his trying to find the right word here.
Okay, he's not evil.
He's a good guy just trying to be evil.
He's a nice guy trying.
Who's pretending to be evil.
Yes, a nice guy pretending to be evil, but it's mostly an obligation to his backstories,
and not something that comes from his heart.
Yeah. Yeah, and so Doofenshmirtz kind of reconsiders his ways, as Vanessa makes the really great point of well, I mean, Dad, does this make you happy?
And just wow again.
Yeah, so really good acting. Honestly, really good acting in the scene too, of just Doofenshmirtz's reaction to this and Olivia Olson's.
Oh yeah, it's just it's basically more the most real and raw that Doof has ever gotten. One of the most raw he's ever gotten.
Gotten introspective.
Yeah, and it's just a simple it's a simple thing too. It's just him just realizing that, oh my God, Vanessa's right. He's it took Vanessa openly saying that you're not a bad guy, Dad. You're just pretending to be evil.
Yep. Kind of reminds me a little bit of some Dr. Draken stuff from Kim Possible.
How so?
Well, there are two main examples. The main one is Dr. Draken had his evil tested once, and it was kind of on the level of playground bully. He wasn't pure evil. And he basically used this. I don't know if you remember this. He used the helmet.
You're talking about Bad Boy.
Yeah, Bad Boy. So he used this. I forget what the helmet was called, but he used this helmet. There was that Henchko. Henchko built this helmet. Henchko, the main Henchko guy. It was something Hench. That was the whole gag.
Yeah, I remember.
Fred Willard played this character, and it was the salesman of evil for all the villains in Kim Possible, and it was hilarious. Anyways,
and then Ron becomes evil.
Yes. I think it was I want to say his name was Zorpox the Conqueror. I think that's what his name was something like that. It was blue, and he's just completely. He turned evil, and it was hysterical. Shigo kind of kidnapped him to enact evil schemes with him, and just rejected a pink, well not pink, a non-blue Dr. Draken.
And his name is Jack Hench.
Jack Hench.
Yeah, and then and of course the best part of that episode, Coco Moo.
Yes, without question, yes.
Earlier today, I had some Coco Moo.
Just Nicole Sullivan. I worship the ground this woman walks on. It's Nicole Sullivan. He's so pissed off about the Coco. Do not say Coco Moo.
that is the best part of that episode, probably.
Yep.
And even just the way Dragon says Coco Moo.
Well, someone needs some Coco Moo.
It's if I ever meet John DiMaggio, I'm gonna have him say Coco Moo. If he ever comes back to Columbus, I'm gonna have him say Coco Moo.
Yep.
Oh God.
Anyway, so between that and then the just kind of the end of the show, ultimately, where we had a redemption of Dr. Draken.
Yeah, where he used where he actually proved that when he's trying to do something good to save the world,
He's successful.
He's actually comes up with a good plan.
Oh yeah,
he could. He's like, yep.
we learned how he became blue. It happened on a Tuesday.
It was a Tuesday.
I just love the idea. He and Dr. Dementor, they get coffee and they just casually grab coffee and chat.
Like, were they in a prison at that point?
No, they were free.
All right.
It might have been a villain themed cafe, but they were free.
Yeah, and it's been so long since I've seen it. I'm a little fuzzy on those exact details.
Oh, it had an epic ending too. Like leading up to that was the big, this is our
Warhawk and Warmonger.
Yep, Ron Perlman.
Yep.
It always felt like he was Ron Perlman and Andre Romano, but I forget if Andre Romano actually did the voice of Warmonger or not. It might have been like someone who sounded a little like Andre Romano. I think it was just a sound. I don't think it was actually Andre Romano. That would have been perfect, though.
It's someone named Carrie Kenny.
Carrie Kenny. Yep. Anyway.
Well, apparently she was. She was in Buzz Lightyear Star Command. Gravatina.
Oh yes, yeah. That's what I know her. Yeah.
And also Sally, apparently.
Yeah.
And she was also the BBs.
Yeah.
I had no idea that she was the BBs too.
Oh no, that tracks. Especially if you listen to the voice, that's absolutely She's totally the BBs from episode 1. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But, yeah.
What's that? Okay, like
BBs must be perfect.
Let's add to the count of times which I realized that I should really go back and watch Kim Possible. The just that I need to get caught up with it. Yes, you do.
Yeah, I've seen it. Hallmark.
I've seen it several times, and I still say I'd go back and watch it.
Yeah, it's funny. The main reason I was thinking about Kim Possible lately is Hallmark put out their Christmas ornaments this year. There is a Kim Possible ornament.
Ooh.
Yeah, unfortunately, because of or because of the state of the nation, to get like the whole tariff thing, they went up on all the prices, so that makes things tricky. So I don't think I'm gonna be able to get Kim Possible, but it's a bummer.
Yeah.
I think because all the prices, like they had like all the prices are listed in the book, and they had like to staple something on the front that said, the prices have gone up. Because it's international, like they're sending it from one place, to the States. So because of that, I guess it's there's taxes in general, like a holiday tax, whatever. It's not an actual holiday tax. You know what I mean? It's just ridiculous. They're finding reasons to overcharge for everything.
I'm looking at some of the ornaments, and yeah, they have some pretty neat ones.
Oh, that's the thing. I love Hallmark, but unfortunately, this year things could be tighter than usual, just because again they've gone up significantly, at least in general. And then on top of that, just what the pricing is, I'm trying to get the Pixar ornaments that I want, and unfortunately, there's not going to be room for Kim Possible as much as I would like there to be.
So I found one. It's a Kim Possible and Rufus.
Yeah, that's it. That's the one.
Well, why is Rufus with Kim?
It's a good question, and that was also maybe a bit of a deal breaker too. Like, well, we got Rufus with no Ron Stoppable. It just feels a little.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Rufus is iconic, but he's not Kim's pet.
All I can tell you is that if you go on eBay, you're gonna find these there's a whole set of Kim Possible ornaments that has like Draken, Shigo, Kim, Rufus, and Ron, and I think Cheerleader Kim. And this is like part of like Disney's storybook collection. So it comes in a nice book and everything, but it's like it's like $60 or more because you guys it's more of a vintage kind of set. Like they released this probably years ago.
All right. I mean, there are some on here that I'm seeing that I definitely would like to get, but
oh yeah, believe me, there's that I love a lot of them. I'd like to get them, but I gotta be choosy now. Plus, I gotta decide. I mean, look. I really want the Buzz and Woody they have this year because I usually go for the Toy Story ones. But I don't know if it's like a power cord. I don't know if I want to bother with that. We're have to see how that goes. Anyway,
it's like years ago they did have Phineas and Ferb ones. Like I said, I actually got I have a couple Phineas and Ferb ornaments from Hallmark.
Plus, I'm debating getting kind of a bucket list one from eBay. That was an old Hallmark one from 2012, but it was a certain car that we might be talking about soon.
Yep.
So we'll
Well,
see.
they even have a Max Powerline one.
I know, yeah, they do, yeah.
All right, but back to this show at hand.
Yep.
So yeah, so Beljeet explains about somehow he's able to tell the time stream continuum is all messed up, and so they come up with the idea to save the boys, basically using a lifeline to get to them, only to get sucked in themselves.
Yep. Wasn't really well thought out plan. Like, we're gonna pull from this side. Well, it's a vortex.
Yep. Well, it was a desperate situation.
Yeah. So now they're all stuck, and essentially it's up to Doofenshmirtz. At least it would seem it's up to Doofenshmirtz.
Yep, and they have the heartfelt reunion where we have Isabella's theme playing where she remembers who Phineas is. It's like, hi Phineas. It's like, oh.
Yeah, true love finds a way.
And you know what Baljeet's true love is here?
Math.
Actually, spoons.
Oh well, that too.
Remember, he's like spoons. and like the
Spoon.
It's like we all know someone who would definitely be sad if spoons have a heartfelt reunion with spoons.
Yep, I just imagine the tick just in the spoonless world, just like holding up a fork. It's not the same, Arthur.
Well, he wouldn't know what a spoon is if you follow the logic of this show.
Well, no, I'm just saying he'll know it's like, Arthur, why am I so unfulfilled with this right now? I don't know why.
Moon, 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 spoon, spoon, spoon. Remember that, Dragon? Moon, 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 spoon, spoon, spoon.
Yeah, robot, robot.
It's like, hey, Jimmy, why can't we breathe in space? It's like, oh, easy, Sheen. It's moon, 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 spoon, spoon, spoon.
God bless Rob Paulson.
Yep.
Moon, 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 spoon.
It's like someone else I actually met.
Yeah.
I like to brag sometimes, Dragon.
Oh no, I got that. Yeah.
It's like I've met some of the most legendary voice actors of all time.
Mm.
All right, I'm not gonna dwell on it here. All right.
I've met people from the MCU.
Well, that is nice. Who specifically?
Yeah. Well, Melinda May.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
I would like to meet Ming-Na.
Yeah.
Though more for Mulan than Melinda May, but
Well, I mean, you can still say, it's also Mulan, but Fennec Shand, so it's three branches right there.
now she just needs to do a Pixar movie.
Yeah.
And then she'll have completed. Then she'll have been in everything.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So the point being, yeah.
The Buford tries to force a heartfelt recollection of oranges, but it doesn't work.
No.
But as you were gonna say.
Okay. So basically they do a makeshift catapult, so they can basically time it just right, so they can basically slingshot themselves through the rip.
And they got to get back in time.
Gotta get back in time. Dun, 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 dun.
Gotta get back in time. I'm sure they probably figured it out by now.
Yeah, that. Well, we could just be big fans of Huey Lewis. They don't know.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
I mean, but there is a connection to what we're talking about tomorrow and Huey Lewis.
Yeah.
So, like I said, people probably, if they're familiar with classic American movies, they probably figured it out by now.
Yeah.
So, it's like, so yeah, the tension builds. Doofenshmirtz builds his device in order to undo the time loop.
So basically, it's this really great tense, kind of climax here to race to save the day and stop the inator, which kind of has to be done almost simultaneously. Where they can't self destruct. They need to get out and then self destruct the inator, because if they self destruct the inator, which they find out as Candace is doing, if they
Yeah.
if they self destruct the inator, then they're going to be stuck in there forever, which they do
Yeah.
not want.
Yes, like they are shocked that Candace is the one that actually initiated it in the first place.
Yeah.
But they don't really hold it against her too much. Because right now their main focus is trying to, get back in time.
Yep. So Doofenshmirtz is trying to be a good guy.
Yep, trying over and over to he's trying to explain how the time loops are getting more and more. Because it's like, hey, look, if I had a paper towel and a cloth, I'd be able to explain this, but I don't have the time.
Well, but he has to economize, like he has to do, like again. This is what the appeal of the Groundhog Day thing is, like when he restarts, he has to, he's got to like really.
Like,
He's got to really just get the brass tacks. Like, yes, Vanessa. I know you want to go to Alka and everything. That's fine. So here we go. We're gonna.
And he has to immediately ask Perry for help, like each time. Like Perry, I beg the platypus. No, you need to help me. Your eyes say no, but your arms say yes. Like Perry's conflicted about like, hey, wait, what do I do here? And so
they build it, but there's like a 55%. Was it a 55% chance of success?
Yep, and a 45% chance they'll be completely wiped out of existence.
Yep. So and then of course there's like a few goes sort of like, okay, look, we gotta like Paradise. If you have anything to say, you should say it now. And this, restart.
Yep. The time rip's getting closer and closer. It's like okay, it's done. I should be able to press this button as long as I'm not over dramatic about it. And then Phineas like, we'll never make it in time.
Yeah.
Phineas of all people has given up.
Yeah. It's not good. That's not good when that kid gives up. His head's in the clouds and his nose beat him there first.
Yep. It was a desperate situation. But Candace, thinking creatively and using one of the devices, one of the things that was forgotten. Spoon!
She cries spoon when she throws the mighty utensil.
Yep. And manages to hit the button just as Doof presses his.
She throws that spoon like John Bernthal throws a fork.
With precision.
Yeah.
And so they hit it, and time reverts back to normal. Candace and Doofenshmirtz save the day. Or did they? As it turns out, as we see, in classic Doofenshmirtz fashion, his device wasn't even plugged in.
Yep.
But it's not actually played for humor here. It's actually kind of a heartwarming thing. Like Perry just lets Doofenshmirtz have this win, doesn't he? It's like,
yeah,
Doofenshmirtz deserved a rare win, not the Pyrrhic victories that characterized his entire summer. He deserved an actual win, and now his heart is set on being a good guy again. Being a good guy. So Perry just leaves it be. Which I think is a nice way to end Doofenshmirtz and Perry's, arc.
Yep, I've been saying it from the beginning, Jacob. It's like, if only the platypus would just let him get a win now and again, and he did ultimately.
Yep, he gave Doofenshmirtz the win.
Yep.
Everyone gets one.
Yep.
And Doofenshmirtz, this is the win that counts. Like, he's on better terms with Vanessa and Norm. And Perry's just seeing that his best friend is now in a better place. It's like then back to Candace and the boy and the kids.
Also, we set up the Alka files.
Yep, we do, and we've already discussed that.
Yep.
Unfortunately, that plot there doesn't go anywhere.
No.
But
But they'll go bowling in 10 years. It'll be fine.
Yeah, they'll be good.
Yep.
Sounds like so.
So
This
Candace and the gang, they reflect under the tree in the backyard with cookies and
orange juice
orange juice.
made with what was that he squeezed with spoons.
Yep.
So they reminisce, like they ask, like, we've done so many great things over the summer. Like, what's the favorite thing that Phineas made? Memories.
Which then turns into a song.
Yep.
An epic song to end out the show.
It's called Curtain Call and Time Spent Together.
I love that they pretty much worked every episode into a song, into like a lyric within the song.
Pretty much, yeah.
Which is impressive.
Yep. And if you and you can tell what episode they're talking about based on like the way they move, or like they think their facial and body expressions too.
By the way, can we go to the original creator's image?
You mean?
Yeah, we even see this. This pops up. Dan, Swampy. Last episode, you had to throw yourselves in there. It wasn't enough that you're in the coda, that you're in the epilogue, you're in like the you're in kind of the epilogue, kind of JLU-esque episode. No. It's just you had to throw this clip in there, didn't you? You just had to work yourselves in there one last time, in case people thought, I wonder who created Phineas and Ferb. You thought people would forget, didn't you?
It's like, Dragon, I think you made Swampy sad.
Oh, no, not yet. We'll get to that.
All right. Well, in the meantime, though, the dialogue fades as the song plays, and over a montage of basically them saying like how great of a summer it was and thanking everyone for coming along.
Yep.
And so, Dragon, exactly. I will admit that as much as I like Curtain Call, Time Spent Together, I feel like Carpe Diem, It Belongs to You would have been equally fitting roast to end the show. Yeah, I can see that. And of course, Dragon, how does the original run of the show end? Like, what does Linda say to close out the series?
Who wants pie?
It's like, anyone want some pie? Yes, we do.
Endless pie.
And that's how the show ends. Everyone just walking into the Flynn Fletcher household, eat some pie.
Yep.
And Phineas waves goodbye.
Yeah.
And thus concluding the original run of the show.
Okay, now let's go. Now go to that clip. Go to that image. Go to the other image, Jacob. Oh, look at Swampy. He's getting emotional over the show ending.
Yep, Dan's just trying to hold it together.
Yep, he's too macho to cry. That Povenmire. Look at him on that throne of fan mail. He's like, okay, look, Swampy, we're gonna be okay. All right, just look at all this mail. I know it's a prop, but just theoretically, look at all this mail. Okay, we're gonna be okay. Give it about 10 years. Give it about 15 years. We'll be back.
Like, it is closer to 10 years.
I know. I was thinking maybe prosperity. Give it about 10 years, Swampy. We'll be back.
Yep, 10 years. Like this, because this episode did air in 2015.
Yep.
So, yep, Swampy. Yeah. So, Dragon, this is it. We've the final curtain for now. For now, anyway. So, Dragon, why don't you give your closing thoughts onto this like this both this episode and the series as a whole, like some of the highlights throughout this entire series, things we've done, things like that. You don't have to go into too many details though.
Well, I thought it was I thought it was a solid finale. I like that we have options. We have our spin-offs. We got our epilogue, which really is like I think the end, and then we have this, and this puts a nice kind of wraps a bow on it. I like the tension and just like, oh god, it's really really tight to get back to the status quo on this one.
Yeah.
But it was it was I think they ran it out very nicely and actually gave it an ending that made sense with the whole like, well, it would be the last day of this endless summer, so it's not all shows are lucky enough to get an ending, but this one did. And I mean, along I guess with the show in total, I mean, I went into Phineas and Ferb with like I said, I had seen like I think the one episode I really saw of Phineas and Ferb was the in action figure episode.
That is a good one though.
Just that, and then when we'd kind of recapped like here and there, like properly, like the Night of the Living Pharmacist, and I think one of the Christmas episodes.
Now, if I remember correctly, the ones we did like outside of this were like That's the Spirit and Night of Living Pharmacists. We did those both for Haunted Holiday Hijinks.
Yeah,
We did Christmas Vacation for, I believe, Seasonal Shenanigans. Either that or Christmas in July. I think it was actually Christmas in July. And we also did both of the movies in different series as well.
yeah. So I was just thinking. I liked what I saw, and and based on like the other kind of glimpses I had, I could see like there might be something in kind of in going through the episodes and just kind of like it might be at the very least it was kind of like a thing where what, even if we don't, I kind of felt like I wanted to watch the show because of honestly just the goodwill. I remember so back when the Disney store was still around, I would go in there, I
Yeah.
would see Perry the Platypus merch, and it was like, you know what? It was always like the reminder of that in action figure episode. It was like, that show does seem a little funny, and plus it had talent on it that I recognized with Povenmire, from his work on Family Guy and Nickelodeon stuff, and it was like, I had this curiosity about it, so it was like it's just it's either that I'm just gonna watch it on my own, and just be silly just to watch it on my own when Jacob is pleading, just like it'd be really cool if we if we recapped it, and we then he hits me with like an angle of like we could it's like we do kind of like an inverse of Batcave, could be fun. It's like
Yeah.
yeah, it all just kind of destiny took hold on that one, and thank God Heinz Doofenshmirtz was as funny as he was. So
Yep.
yeah, and as far as like specific highlights, again, me, I'm like being the gadget nut that I am. The Inators are always a good laugh. Doofenshmirtz never disappointed. Of all the things the boys built, I mean, there's like a laundry list, but I remember like the lawn bowling was always a fun one. I love the restaurant that was pretty much all the food related ones like Shea Platypus and
Oh yeah.
the truck stop diner on
The
the
no
RV,
the no stop truck stop.
the no stop truck stop, the milkshake
Ast-
bar, well the mix milkshake what
the asteroid bar.
the asteroid bar,
Yeah, the shooting star milkshake bar.
that's the one. Yeah, it's a lot of really fun concepts.
Yeah.
This thing is just it was like like inventions, kind of like honestly the episodes where we really kind of allowed the fun stuff to be on focus and display. I think is when Phineas and Ferb was at its strongest in terms of like the boys themselves. I mean, Doofenshmirtz never disappointed really. I think maybe like once in a very blue moon, like I can count on one hand the times Doofenshmirtz plus didn't work.
And also the episodes where Doof wasn't there at all.
Exactly. But I mean, yeah, it's the only times the only main criticism I have with the show is that sometimes with run times it's doing like essentially the same formula. Well, again, obviously we varied as much as we could, but roughly the same formula every episode. Which again, it's a
Yeah.
thing that all cartoons kind of gonna deal with, or most cartoons deal with, and
But people did point out that this show used it more as a strength than a crutch. Like
yeah,
other
that's the
cartoons.
thing. They weren't hurt by it. It was just something that I think they very smartly realized. Well, we're gonna have to contend with this, so we're gonna have to try our best. But even with that said, some episodes get more love than others, and not everyone can be not every night can be the night you record the album, to put it in musical terms. It's
Yeah.
sometimes I think we shortchanged it. We just kind of found an episode to fill like the 2 episode kind of block. But
Yeah.
it's still. I mean, Phineas and Ferb. thought it was a good time. I think it did encapsulate the spirit of summer and just kind of like cartoons. I think the way that I don't think it like fully captured like as you can tell by our many tangents. We're talking about this show and we're thinking about all the cartoons that we nostalgically enjoyed and that always had such an impact or left like a resonant kind of echo in kind of like the chambers of our pop culture infused consciousness.
Yeah.
And with that, Phineas and Ferb is like kind of like it's cut from the same cloth. At least that's getting us to think about those things and kind of remember those things, and it's kind of like in the spirit of just kind of like it's the vignetted, just kind of like fun cartoon shenanigans. And it has like there's a lot of Nickelodeon in this to a degree. It's kind of Nickelodeon, but with kind of the polish of Disney. So there's something kind of like kind of clean and marketable about it. But again, it just shows to Bob Meyer and Swampy's experiences working on a bunch of disparate cartoons and kind of bringing what they learned and really making it their own and making it their own vision and sticking true to it and just like they refused to give the platypus a girlfriend, so it all worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's that's something special, and the fact that it's coming back and people are still talking about it. And, it's like 15 years later. It wasn't like a groundswell. We demand more Phineas and Ferb. It was like there was an audience, everyone liked it. The networks didn't like aggressively cancel it. It was just like what?
Let's
It's
we're gonna
it's
do it
gone
again.
away.
We're gonna do it again.
Yeah, let's do it again. Why not?
We're doing a sequel.
Yep. I mean, summer's still a concept. I think we can. I think we can run with that still.
Yep. Before I get into my closing statement, which Dragon, thank you for those. That was an amazing closing statement that you had.
Yeah.
Phineas and Ferb was a massive chunk of my childhood, even though I briefly fell off it around the end of season 3. But looking back on it now, that I'm older, makes me realize how special it is. And that actually kind of leads to mine too. My closing thoughts too. This Dragon, I'm going to kind of use this as a bookend because it's kind of what I'm opened with, with Roller Coaster. How much this show really means to me. Like this show came to me like during a period of great change in my life. Some good changes, some bad. It was like I was basically a teenager when this show came out. And I was around, and that's obviously a time when people go through a lot of changes. My family was also changing quite a bit as well. New additions and all that as well, and some things changing, families splitting apart, things like that. So, but in that time, I was able to find solace in the zany adventures of these two weirdly shaped boys and their friends. The message stuck with me. Seize the day, make the most of every day you can. It doesn't necessarily have to be these grand epic adventures, but seizing the day, making the most out of every single day is the best some of the best ways to live your life. It's like, and basically looking back on childhood and looking back on your life not with dreams but with memories. What Phineas said, like the favorite thing that he made over the course of the summer was memories, and even over the course of the years, I've held this show close to my heart, and I never got the opportunity to talk to many people about this outside of my family, and so going through this with you, Dragon, really that has been a great experience. It's like I find that sure we've gone off on a lot of tangents and things like that, but I think at its core we still maintain the focus and charm of the show itself. And I was able to express my love and show like able to show why this show meant so much to me. It's like, and even like as I mentioned, how I've mentioned how I found solace during that time period. Like I'm sure Dragon, as you're well aware, something very bad actually happened in my life fairly recently.
Oh yeah.
I'm not going to go into details about it here, but I was actually watching Save Summer when I heard the news. When I heard that, when I got that, and after hearing the news, what happened? I simply after receiving the call, I turned the episode back on and found solace once again. So we've both been through a lot of ups and downs in our lives, even even through these streams.
Yep.
And I think we're able to lift each other up, raise our spirits doing this. At least I'm speaking for myself here, but doing all this has really been quite a great experience for me. And Dragon, this goes out to you. So thank you, Dragon. Thank you for going on this crazy, wild journey with me.
Thank you.
And that goes out to you. All of you watching, commenting, Aquatad, all the people who commented over the years, Aquatad, Code Geass, LEB, Slasher Fred, Eli, Little Blue, everyone who's ever commented, and Sonia Pantoja. I want to thank you all, not from the bottom of my heart, but from my entire heart. I just want to say, I'm going to leave you with this. Okay, but first off, thanks to you both for the amazing ride. I'm glad to have tagged along for the journey. Thank you, Aquatad. I'm actually kind of getting emotional here. So so I'll leave you with this part, with this statement. There's been almost 130 streams. We've had a lot of gritty reboots, and some of them very wrong.
Oh yeah.
And though there's more on the way, I've just got to say, it's been a great recap, and I thank you all for coming along.
Who wants pie?
Yes, we do. But Dragon, as you all may know, this is not the end of our journey. In fact, it's actually almost the start of a new beginning. But so join us next week as we discuss the next step on our way to season 5, as we give the long-awaited Recap-inator treatment to Candace against the Universe. Good night, everybody.